الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Amma ba'd, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, today is the fifth video, and inshallah we are going to answer one fundamental question that many of us we keep asking: why do we have conflicts, misunderstanding, among ourselves as Muslims? If we pick up our beloved countries, we have Syria, we have Iraq, we have Libya, we have Yemen, and many other countries. We still have problems, and when the problem started, cannot stop. One thing we have to put in mind that these kind of problems are not started from the highest level as a government, but those problems started from small institutions or small organizations. You may find out those conflicts within universities, within associations, and within schools, and in many parts of our daily life places. So as we are living in Japan, of course, we got the chance of being in such kind of beautiful country. So our Muslim institution, mosques, should be as peaceful as all the country is. If they cannot be better than the peace we enjoy right now in Japan. So my point today is to pick up the same case study that I am dealing with in my research right now, which is An-Nur Islamic Center, Fukuoka Masjid. Why do we have sometimes conflicts? Why sometimes you see some people, including Imam, make violence sometimes the way to to approach problems. They should shout and they should show kind of fear stuff. Why do we have this? And this answer is very important, because to answer this kind of question is very important, because as far as we are giving lectures in khutbah on the mimbar, or we talk a lot about Islam, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that, Quran says that, Quran says that, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that, we are saying a lot about Islamic says and acts, but we don't really put in practice. Why this? So we should have a source of this. If, for example, no source from Quran, and we know that ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن, we repeat this verse of Quran and many others which are dealing with the problems in a very peaceful way. Even Fir'aun, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Musa and Harun to go to Fir'aun, اذهبا إلى فرعون إنه طغى فقولا له قولا لينا لعله يتذكر أو يخشى. He tried to deal with the Fir'aun in a very good manner, in a very peaceful way. We find out those verses of Quran through the history of all prophets. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent to all human beings in order to deliver the message of Islam. But with these stories and many verses of Quran, with many hadith, but we are still behaving violently. So why do we have this? So the answer here is to find out the source of this problem, the source of the conflict, the source of approaching problem in violence, is going back to our own history as Muslims as well. So we know the time of the Prophet Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and we know the Prophet of Sahaba, and we know the Prophet of At-Tabi'in, the students of Sahaba, until in a specific period of time we have two main periods known within the Islamic history, which are the period of les Umayyad and the period of the Abbasid, Umayyah and Abbasiyya. So these two periods are known within the Islamic history. During this period, some verses of Quran and Hadith Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam have been corrupted and translated and explained very differently. One of the verses is this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ash-Shura, وَلَوْ بَسَطَ اللَّهُ الرِّزْقَ لِعِبَادِهِ لَبَغَوْا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَكِنْ يُنَزِّلُ بِقَدَرٍ مَا يَشَاءُ إِنَّهُ بِعِبَادِهِ خَبِيرٌ بَصِيرٌ. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offered, complete comfort, money, better life to everybody. So people might be arrogant, people might be unjust against each other. ولو بسط الله رزق العباد لبغوا في الأرض ولكن ينزل بقدر ما يشاء. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offered comfort, offered money, offered effort, wealth, and gave somehow better life to some people in a specific amount or in a specific volume, to some people and some not, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala khabirun basir, knows much better and knows who we are. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did the way we are living now as it's good for us. However, this verse of Quran has been corrupted by some rulers within these two periods of the Umayyad and Abbasid. Some of those rulers who wanted to control others and who wanted to, somehow to enlarge their authority every single part of the Muslim world that time, they pick up some verses like this, that they should not give freedom, they should not give liberty to all to all their citizens, otherwise, they may act badly against the authority. So in this verse of Quran, they changed the meaning and they said that if you are leading a community or you are leading a country, so sometimes you have to use violence, and some you have to show off, to show a kind of show of some kind of power, authority through violence that you can somehow crush. So this kind of violence should be used in a way that people will be silent and people will be quiet. So if, for example, you see some brothers in Fukuoka, even when Dr. Zaki Naik was here as a guest, some brothers, including Imam himself and another guy that I explained to you before, we were welcoming Dr. Zaki Naik, and they made some noisy and violence, and subhanallah, Dr. Zaki Naik was coming with such kind of behavior. So you can understand that why do we have this? Is to tell you that it's not a mistake as you may think, because mistake you may make once and two, but if you continue doing that is not mistake, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive you, because one of the sharti one of the conditions, our tawbah to be accepted, as the scholars mention, you should not repeat. But if you keep repeating, you're doing the same thing, 2014 violence in masjid, 2015 violence, and 2016, this is to argue, brothers and sisters, that these are not mistakes. These are ideology. These are, how to say, you may say in Arabic, nazriyat. I mean, this is kind of part of the leadership system, that sometimes they have to show some violence if they want to keep authority, if they want to keep the masjid peaceful. Understand this one very well, because many Muslims do not understand. Those who are facing this kind of violence time to time, they are not mistakes. This kind of ideology existing in their mind, that sometimes we have to show violence so that people will understand that this place, if somebody says something, will be, approached violently. So it's like somebody like say, if you say something here or you talk, so there are some people that they will eat you, they will crush you. So this is ideology. So please try to get this point. And as I said, the source, some verses of Quran have been corrupted. So you will keep facing this, because this is a very deep ideology existing within those brothers. And that's why some of us, we stand up and we will try to tell them that actually the ideology you have, this ideology comes from the period of the Umayyad period and the period of Abbasid, that some rulers use them in order to control people and to not allow people to raise the voice. Because within our Muslim history, the period of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the period of Umar, it's very normal somebody to raise their hand, say, Umar, what are you doing? Your clothes is so beautiful, and actually, we don't have the same clothes you have. That Umar has to answer through his son, Abdullah, that actually I took part of my clothes and I gave my father. That's why my father dressed like that. I don't want to give detail because this kind of story and many others are very known by many Muslims. But still, you can see in a place like Fukuoka Masjid, there is such kind of behavior that people are crushing people, and the imam who's giving khutbah, he's using violence in Ramadan and many occasions. But I know one. For example, when Dr. Zakir Naik was coming, as I said before, and repeatedly, he's using violence to tell you that this is not mistake, that some of you are the Arab brothers who may say it is zilla. This is not zilla or zalla. This is ideology about how to lead. They have this kind of wrong ideology. They pick up from wrong ideology explained in some verses of Quran during the period of somebody like Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. Hajjaj ibn Yusuf was a violence, is one of the Muslim leaders in the past. He used to use violence. Of course, he picked up some verses of Quran and some hadith. He translated the way he liked, and then finally, after that, people started to read some of the books written during that period and other poetries which are somehow contradicting the Quran and Hadith Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I just remember one poem that I read when I was taking my high school. The poem is so dangerous, and actually until now, many, especially Arab brothers, are arguing based on such kind of poem. It's very dangerous. Listen, and this kind of poem has been written during those two periods. I don't know exactly which period, but I know very well that this poem has been revealed during the period of the Umayyad and Abbasid. The poem is like this. إذا أنت أكرمت الكريم ملكته وإذا أنت أكرمت اللئيم تمردا. The verse no detail that if you do something good, you help somebody. For example, you have money or you have a big fortune and you give to somebody. إذا أنت أكرمت ملكته, you will own him. You will own him. وإذا أنت أكرمت اللئيم, if you support or you give fortune or you give money or you give support to a bad person, tamarrada, he will run away. He will never listen to you. This poem right now is still argued until today by many Arab brothers and sisters. This is very dangerous. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he has been given everything. The Quraysh said, if you need money, we will give to you. If you need authority, we will give you. We will give you whatever you want. If you can stop saying this garbage, this deen, this sharia issue, forget about Allah, forget about this. We will give you everything. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said the very famous expression. He said that if you put the sun on my right shoulder and the moon on my left, in order to let this, I will never do that. They give him everything. So do we think Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was a bad man? Was a bad person? Ibrahim, all prophets, when the qawm or the nation of Ibrahim alayhi salam asked him to let what he's saying, calling them to Iman and to be a normal person, as his father was a very had a high position in the society and community. Ibrahim say no. So Ibrahim is bad? And we see this one in many occasions, that great ulama have been given everything in order to be quiet and to be silent. But they refused. They have been given. They refuse. إذا أنت أكرمت الكريم ملكته. So you may say that for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam refused, but again, that means if you refuse as well, if you accept the thing, for example, somebody come and give you some money and stuff, and then you accept, so you have to listen to him. Otherwise, you are a bad person. That's the meaning of. And please, I'm talking to my friends from the Arab world. Do not give me too much philosophy, because the way it has been written is like this. If somebody has given you something, he has to own you. Yeah, you became slave of him. You have to listen to him. I remember one day there is one guy was saying, when Muhammad Shami reached Fukuoka, his Arab brothers, they invited him, they eat together, they live with him, and they give everything, as they say something like that. But you know what he's doing? He doesn't listen to us. إذا أكرمت الكريم ملكته وإذا أنت أكرمت اللئيم تمرد. Oh, come on. Means I have to be violent. I have to accept this way of leading the Fukuoka Masjid, which is a very bad, which leads us to a catastrophic situation. If you try to compare to other mosques, we started to talk a lot about doing a lot of things, but we failed because of the way we are leading Muslims here. So let us to come to the point. To repeat that the violence and the conflicting attitude you see in Fukuoka Masjid time to time is not such kind of mistakes, is ideology. And you will continue having them because they have such kind of belief that if you are a leader, sometimes you have to use violence, sometimes you have to be peaceful, sometimes you have violence, and sometimes to be peaceful. It's philosophy, it's ideology, how to lead. This wrong ideology is you can find out in many parts of the world. So we want to answer to these people who are using such kind of wrong ideology. Please don't play on the verses of Quran, and please find any verse of Quran or Hadith. Tell us the way you behave, the way you are shouting on Muslims in masjid. You find any verse of Quran or any Hadith is telling you that. Try to give us a proof. Where did you find out this? Because all verses of Quran discussing about conflicting even between prophets and their nations, all about peaceful way. So please forget about this kind of ideologies and the wrong interpretation you have taken out from the period of Hajjaj ibn Yusuf and others. Your ideology of leadership is wrong, please, brothers. However, there is also, it's not, this kind of ideology, is not only in the Arab world. There is another ideology exists in East Asia. When East Asia, as far as we are in Japan, we discuss about Muslims, Indonesian, Malaysian, Japanese, and others. They have a wrong ideology. This ideology is silent is gold. This ideology is from devil, from shaitan. This ideology never mentioned, neither in Quran and neither in Hadith. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir, falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." The one who believes on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and prophets, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he should say something good or be silent. Silent is connected to bad says. Silent doesn't mean if you see wrong things, you should be silent. In that case, you are called shaitanun akhras. You are shaitan. If you see wrong things that are taking place, some people are abused, silent. Things going wrong, silent. You are shaitan. So this theory, which is in East Asia, silent is gold, is a theory from devil. Because shaitan knows that if this theory is implemented, So he will enjoy spreading out all bad things and everywhere. Violent person will keep doing violence because nobody will speak. Somebody who's doing wrong thing will continue doing it because nobody will tell him that that's wrong. So please, brothers and sisters from East Asia, again, also the Arab brothers who have this kind of other wrong ideologies implemented in Fukuoka Masjid now, of using violence sometimes in order to show fear. You East Asian also, this theory is from devil. This theory is very dangerous. This term is very bad. If we didn't have this kind of theory, the Muslims from East Asia living in Fukuoka Masjid could make our masjid the better place ever. If only Indonesian community just decided that let's make our masjid the best place in Japan. So what they have to do, they have to go to those Arab brothers who are leading our Muslims since 2009 and sit with them and tell them, we have a new platform how to lead a Nur Islamic Center. But number one, these two brothers who are making violence, never make violence anymore. And please remind them that the philosophy or ideology you have is wrong, and it's corruption from the Quran and Hadith Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We could live in a peaceful way within 2 years of 2009, 2010. Only Indonesian community, or Japanese community, or Malaysian community. We could live in a peaceful way. We could have a very good community. But this theory of devil, gold, silent is gold. Gold. Where did you take this one from? It's from Shaitan. It's called Shaitanun Akhras. So there are many theories existing in many Muslims today, which are not neither from Quran and nor from Hadith. Those theories are destroying us a lot. So to finish this video, sorry to make it longer, I want to conclude this topic to tell you that the violence and conflicting approach you may assist in Fukuoka Masjid are not mistakes. But these are leadership's ideology. Wrong ideologies have been taken from some part of our Islamic history because, unfortunately, many Muslims do not read critically. But some people, they just memorize things without thinking what they are reading. The second point, as a conclusion, for East Asian Muslims, please, this silent is gold is from devil, is a very bad ideology. If we didn't have such kind of ideology, many problems in our masjid could resolve a long time ago, and we could have the best association ever. So please, brothers and sisters in Islam, try to critically read what you are reading, because you may read the wrong concepts, and this concept may affect negatively to your life. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.